Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Chloe Feng. Our top stories tonight. The city's sole delegate to the National People's Congress Standing Committee wants Hongkongers to be tried on the mainland if defendants cannot find legal representation in national security cases. Further clarifications on the latest anthem blunder in Dubai. And Shanghai joins a growing number of mainland cities in relaxing some COVID curbs. Hong Kong's sole delegate to the National People's Congress Standing Committee, Tan Yu-chung, said national security cases could be handed over to mainland courts if defendants are unable to hire local lawyers. The committee is expected to return a decision on whether overseas practitioners can take national security cases in the SAR after Chief Executive John Lee made a request to seek law interpretation following a ruling that allows British lawyer Tim Owen to defend media tycoon Jimmy Lai in a high-profile national security trial. Tam said transferring cases to the mainland could be a resort if Beijing decides to ban overseas lawyers and a defendant cannot hire any local lawyer. Asked whether that would cause fear in the society, Tam said he believes such kind of transfers would only be used in special circumstances. The Asian Powerlifting Federation has apologized for playing a protest song instead of China's national anthem during a medal ceremony at the Asian Classic Powerlifting Championship in Dubai. Acting Sports Commissioner Paul Chen, however, was pleased with the new guidelines set for athletes to tackle this issue, saying it helped in safeguarding national dignity. Joanna Ho reports.
In a letter issued today, President of the Asian Powerlifting Federation Farshid Soltani confirmed that the Hong Kong team had submitted the correct anthem and blamed a technical team made up of volunteers from various countries for the mistake on Friday. He said the volunteers did not have an idea of which anthem should represent Hong Kong and downloaded national anthems of all competing teams from the internet as backup in case some countries failed to bring along the audio file for their anthem. But since they had to manage multiple versions of the songs, the incorrect file for Hong Kong was not deleted and then played during the medal ceremony. Soltani said all files have been examined afterwards and assured that similar incidents would not happen again. Meeting the press this afternoon, Acting Sports Commissioner Paul Chang said follow-up actions are underway.
All the National Sport Association in Hong Kong, they have been requested to contact their international federation and Asian federations proactively to make sure that they understand the correct version of our national anthem. And we will continue to communicate with the relevant associations to make sure that they would not make these mistakes again.
During the medal ceremony, Hong Kong powerlifter Susanna Lin, who won gold, made a T sign with her hands according to new guidelines set by the Hong Kong Sports Federation and Olympic Committee for Athletes after realizing the protest song was played. The organizers then made the correction to play China's anthem. Chang praised the rules, saying they were effective in safeguarding national dignity. Meanwhile, Poi Kwan Kay, honorary vice president of the committee, hopes Google or YouTube can remove all clips of the protest song from their platforms permanently. Police are now investigating whether the national anthem ordinance or other laws were violated in the case. Joanna Ho, HKIBC.
Today is a National Constitution Day. While a flag-raising ceremony took place in Tuen Mun to mark the day, a seminar was also held to deepen public understanding of the constitutional basis of Hong Kong. Here's Joanna Ho again.
Flags were raised in Hong Kong Customs College this morning to mark the 40th anniversary of the promulgation and implementation of the Chinese Constitution. The ceremony, officiated by Justice Chief Paul Lam, was attended by Security Chief Chris Tang, officers and youth groups from 6 disciplinary services, including police and immigration. Speaking at the event, Lam reminded the officers that they are responsible for understanding the Constitution and in the vanguard of safeguarding national security. He urged people to start learning and respecting the Constitution from a young age. After the ceremony, flags were lowered to half-mast to mourn the passing of former President Jiang Zemin. Giving a speech virtually in a seminar on the Constitution this afternoon, Luo Huining, Director of Central Government's Liaison Office in Hong Kong, raised 3 musts for the city. They are respecting and protecting the fundamental system of China, safeguarding national sovereignty by prioritizing the country's security and development interests, and promoting the value of loving the country and Hong Kong that conforms with the one country, two systems principle. Speaking at the same event, Chief Executive John Lee stressed that the Constitution has contributed to the founding of the SAR and the Basic Law. He emphasized the importance of staying alert on national security, seeing risks affecting it are complex and volatile. The leader cited his earlier move to seek interpretation on the law from the National People's Congress as an act of safeguarding national security. Joining in the spirit of today's event, Finance Chief Paul Chen said on his weekly blog that Hong Kong should use its unique advantages under the one country, two systems principle, which originated from the Constitution to contribute to China's economic development. Joanna Ho, HKIBC.
A 58-year-old man died after he fainted during a softball match this morning. The man apparently went into a coma during the game at Tin Kung Road softball field in Ho Man Tin around 9 a.m. Other participants who called for help said he was not hit by anything. Paramedics treated him on site and rushed him to Kong Wah Hospital, where he was declared dead. The Hong Kong Softball Association later confirmed the deceased was ex-vice president and former Hong Kong team member Wong Wan Man and expressed their deepest condolences to his family and teammates. The government will analyze traffic flow for a one-year period after the new toll arrangement for all 3 cross-harbour tunnels is implemented in the middle of next year. Transport Secretary Lan Sai-hong said the aim is to reduce existing toll disparity and congestion by achieving better traffic diversion. To reduce heavy traffic congestion in the Cross Harbour Tunnel and the Eastern Harbour Crossing, the government had earlier announced a proposal to adjust the toll for all 3 Cross Harbour tunnels from August next year. Under the proposal, private vehicles using the Western Harbour Crossing will pay $60, while the toll for Eastern Harbour Crossing and Cross Harbour Tunnel will be increased to $30. Toll for taxis will remain unchanged at $25 for all 3 tunnels. Speaking on a radio program this morning, Transport Secretary Lan Sai-hong defended the proposal by saying the intention was to achieve better traffic diversion and bring a change in driving habits. Many residents hope the government will reduce the toll level for the Western Harbour Crossing, but doing that one alone will not provide enough incentives to solve the traffic issues in the other 2, he said. He also said the government has decided to roll out the adjustments in 2 phases to implement the new toll system. If the current tunnel toll structure and levels are changed drastically, members of the public may not be able to accept it immediately, he said. Adding that the city is still in the process of returning to normality, with reduced cross-border traffic compared to pre-pandemic figures. The current use of the tunnels might not represent the true congestion situation. And the government will need to analyze data and traffic flows for a one-year period before rolling out the second phase, which will have a toll structure depending on the time of the day, and fares could vary from rush hours to non-peak hours. He said the government is also planning to encourage the park and ride network in the new territories to attract more drivers to use public transport and reduce traffic congestion in urban areas. A suspected burglary occurred at the villa on the Peak at around 2 a.m. this morning. The female owner of the house at 15 Mount Callet Road called the police after she found 3 intruders on her property. Police had no luck finding the suspects despite conducting vehicle searches nearby. The owner reported a loss of about $20 million, which included luxury watches, jewelry, and cash. Hong Kong's COVID cases are still hovering near the 10,000 mark. The city reported 9,487 new cases today, including 657 imported ones. That was down from the over 10,100 infections reported yesterday. The virus has taken 16 more lives. Shanghai has joined a growing number of mainland cities in relaxing harsh COVID curbs. Although business owners have welcomed the move, many feel that it could have been done at an earlier stage,
making it one of the latest to join other top-tier cities in the country to embrace a COVID policy shift following nationwide protests. Authorities in the financial hub of Shanghai announced the city will scrap the mandatory PCR testing for people to enter outdoor public venues, such as parks, or while using public transport starting from tomorrow. Earlier this week, capital Beijing and the southern manufacturing hub of Guangzhou, along with tech hub Shenzhen, had also eased some curbs. Authorities added that measures will continue to be adjusted and optimized in line with the national policy and situation. The announcement came as the mainland reported another 31,601 cases, with Guangdong province remaining the epicenter with over 6,600 infections, mostly in Guangzhou city. But for many business owners and manufacturers, the easing of curbs seems to have come too little, too late. iPhone maker Apple is said to have accelerated plans to shift some of its production outside China, following the country's stringent curbs that disrupted factory activities over the last 3 years. Citing people involved in the discussions, the Wall Street Journal reported that the world's most valuable company is telling its suppliers to plan more actively for assembling Apple products elsewhere in Asia, particularly in India and Vietnam, to diversify its supply chain. The move is said to be propelled by unrest in China's iPhone city, Zhengzhou, where the device is manufactured by Taiwanese assembler Foxconn. Online footage showed workers and local anti-epidemic authorities, as well as factory security, clash over COVID restrictions and pay disputes. But the unrest in Zhengzhou and other cities has had a positive impact on the authorities, who have finally decided to make people's lives less stressful.
Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky has expressed his disappointment over a price cap set by Western allies on Russian oil exports, calling it a weak position. The cap approved on Friday is aimed at stopping countries paying more than $60 per barrel for Russian crude oil and to restructure the global oil market to prevent price spikes. The measure, led by the Group of 7 nations and is due to come into effect on Monday, intensifies Western pressure on Russia over the invasion. Zelensky said the price cap is not serious enough to damage the Russian economy, adding that the money earned by Russia from oil trade will be used for destabilizing countries who need to choose between Russia and the West. Russia, meanwhile, said it will not accept any cap on its oil exports. On to the weather now. It will be overcast with sunny intervals. Temperatures will range between 16 and 21 degrees. The sun will make a gradual comeback as the week progresses. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Sunday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Chloe Feng. Thanks for watching. Good night.